I'm not sure exactly how close, I can never remember. Anyway, so we're back on full screen, which is good. It's never good to not be full screen when you're streaming. Trust me, I know from experience. So, player numbers have not changed. PF2K really likes playing with his blue trunks. Meanwhile, verhuver is forced onto the red trunks yet again. Sorry, I just like saying trunks just because, you know, like the shorts the boxers wear. Yeah, like that. So anyway, you got the same Civ matchup between these two. This time, it's on Sheltered Pass. So, we've had a lot of very old maps with PF2K tonight. I played him on Coastal, and we actually left a Wetlands game together. So, we really haven't seen any new maps yet. Shame, because Ghost Lake is best map. Equal's pretty nice though. And Sheltered can be for sure, it's just that sometimes this gold can end up in here. Sometimes this player has like shit all hunts. But I'm sure that can be fixed, and for now, we can just blame Recon. So we see verhuver and PF2K looks to be going for double storehouse first. Probably going to go into town center first from here. And then from there, we're going to see a fair bit more action. So it's interesting. Neither player opting to spear rush, or spire rush in verhuver's case, sorry. It's just that everyone else spawns with spearmen. Well, starts age 1 with spearmen, spawns. So, verhuver checking PF2K's base, PF2K having a look at verhuver's base. Oh my goodness, it's laggy as fuck. So I wanted to be able to stay in a little bit longer. Just because sorry, you can flick between these and actually see one another's vision, but you can't do that if you leave game as a spectator. But it actually makes the game less laggy, so bit of a pro tip there. verhuver on the stone, PF2K on the stone. So both players opting for similar level agreed at this point. I wonder if verhuver is going to play around that many Asabara, because it can really catch your opponent out if you can control all the Asabara really well. But if you're not able to translate that sort of opening into damage, it can be hard against an opponent playing a more balanced composition. And he sniped a whole bunch of gardens to his credit, so he really sort of denied PF2K on that front, but I think he also was taking some unnecessary fights with the Asabara, and that sort of was where he was a bit set back. So H2 kicking in for verhuver, kicked in for PF2K, who is, yeah, for sure, he wants those gardens, he needs that food, and there's a fairly defensive town centre here from verhuver. PF2K just waiting on a little bit of stone. Got it now. Can throw down this TC right here, I believe. Yeah. So it's sort of nice and protected from three sides. Really only exposed from here. And the perfect position to guard that gold mine. A little bit greedier than verhuver's, but not by a huge amount. Still overlapping field. It's just not right in the range of it. So. And both players playing with a similar level agreed. They're not really going to be able to put much pressure on each other for another minute or so. And then things are really going to get ramped up. So, pretty cool to see, I think. We could have a similar result to last game, or we could have something way different depending on unit choices and that sort of thing. Like PF2K not playing with the stables at all last game. And verhuver opening with triple stables. and not playing with the barracks at all. Not playing with the barracks till fairly late, sorry. So it was a very interesting match, because in this matchup I think things can be quite varied. You know, you can see a lot of early barracks aggression and a lot of other styles. So PF2K getting a similar sort of barracks timing to the other game. I think he's going to probably throw some houses down here just to make it harder to reach this garden. Could be wrong though. And verhuver taking this really distant hunt right now. He scouted out his other far hunt, and right now he's only actually got his berries picker's gloves upgrade. And this distance gathering isn't doing him any favors. He ideally probably want the storehouse right here or right here, I'd say. And PF2K gonna have the room to get these gardens up. I'm not quite sure why verhuver is playing so safe on the berries. Like, he sort of spotted a really passive opening from PF2K, so realistically he probably could have just sent all those workers up to this hunt and taken hunting dogs, really. Or got another hunt somewhere. He's got one there which he's on. So verhuver's actually got really spaced out hunts, so I guess I can understand he wants to be safe, but at the same time verhuver sort of play a bit passive when PF2K is playing really greedy, just because he's stayed on these berries. He's actually got 12 workers on the berries when he could have 6 more workers for an 8 over here and 6 over here, so go through those pretty quickly, get a lot more resources out, because that's where I think a lot of the score lead of PF2K's is stemming from, is that verhuver just isn't gathering as fast. But in saying that, PF2K also has 7 on the berries now. But he does also have those gardens with the free food gen, so he's actually got 3 other villages somewhere else. Is he getting more? No? Oh yeah, here. So he's still got 3 over here. verhuver only has 2. Oh, I think he might have just finished up there. So I really think he probably, yeah, should have moved on to one of these hunts, because he's actually got 2 right there, so. And it's a good incentive to get a quick wall on there, and then he can really take advantage of the fact that he's got so much resources in the one spot, in a sense. But it is quite a distance from his main base, so he needs to probably set up a market line along here. We'll see if he ends up doing that. Got a storehouse all the way at the back here, so the beauty of this, I suppose, is that if either side gets sort of pushed into, it sort of forms a nice V shape here. I don't know if you can see it, but look, V for verhuver. So this nice V shape actually means that his opponent tries to rally cavalry around the back of the map, in the back of his base, anywhere for whatever reason. He's going to be able to see it, and verhuver actually crossing at a bit of an PF2K, I think, might have actually rallied his villager away then. But it was a bit unfortunate for verhuver because he didn't see the villager there to chuck up the wall. So it's interesting. Why does PF2K do it like that? Is he just sort of accidental? So verhuver trying to get some value out with these Asabara, but there's just spearmen already absolutely everywhere. And we've got the stables and a range this time. So verhuver probably going to play a much more balanced sort of style right now. This other Asabara, he's going to wrap around, hopefully try and do some damage on this wood line. PF2K got his scout here just to make sure there's no other Asabara making his way across while this is being thrown up. verhuver looking to secure vision in the mid map. See if he gets pushed into it all himself. So but Asabara, unfortunately, oh no, here he is. But Asabara still not really taking part in any fights yet, because I think verhuver realizes PF2K isn't going to let him get there for free. And this will be interesting. There's a nice Z or S shape of the walls right now. And this, look at this really interesting fight. 4 crocodile. Man, surely there's got to be a law against that. Okay. So this is a little bit dangerous in a sense, but I suppose PF2K can also send another villager down or whatever. And this will mean that if he gets this final wall in place, he actually traps verhuver's scout right now. Oh, that's so laggy. I'm so laggy. It's PF2K trying to secure as much of this low ground area as possible as well. Just sort of buy himself a bit of extra time. Another Asabara being picked off. At the same time, there's a couple here that must have picked off a little watchtower, because I think that's what PF2K must have been throwing up there. Some markets already coming out for verhuver. And I saw a temper, which is the melee upgrade for the spearman, coming in. PF2K actually throwing in another set of walls. And yeah, so he's got temper finish, he's got what's the other before chainmail? I can't remember. Anyway, he's got the first melee armor upgrade and melee damage upgrade. So he's sort of expecting plenty of Asabara this game, but I think verhuver's actually playing a much more balanced style. He's got a 1-1-1 opening. Isn't playing around anything terribly greedy at the moment. And is getting this, I mean, anything terribly specialized at the moment, and he is playing quite greedy. He's got the double market. He's going to be a little bit slower in his age 3. PF2K getting plenty of upgrades now, getting his spearman champ, his barbed arrows, conditioning. So PF2K actually on quite a few more production facilities at the moment. So it's, yeah, 4 racks 3 range versus I think just the 1-1-1 opening from verhuver right now. Although he is getting another range, so it's going to help with those 4 barracks, but he's going to need to make use of the Asabara again, I think, as well. And there is plenty of units over here, but they just aren't attacking the wall, so I think he was just having a look to see if PF2K was pushing out. Although PF2K hasn't actually upgraded, so these clay walls, they only cost wood, but they're quite a bit less tanky than the regular walls. The PF2K actually sneaking his small force out here. Don't know how verhuver didn't actually catch that. But this will be interesting. So PF2K just rallied all these units in the mid-map. Right now, villager count 69 to 670. So both players even on the villager count basically. And PF2K with a slight villager advantage. I mean, slight population advantage, but both players sort of walking away fairly evenly in that trade. And PF2K still only has his clay walls. verhuver has upgraded to his next tier of walls, so he sort of widened the disparity. PF2K probably intending to hold off on stone wall just until he throws up one last probably segment of walls here or here. Maybe even here if he's playing a bit more aggressively, if he's able to really win this fight. He's a little bit ahead in terms of population count now, but he is about to get caught. He's walked straight up to his opponent. There's a lot of bowmen. I don't know if this is going to be the best way to have all them position, but in saying that, it's going to be quite hard for verhuver to move everything onto the bowmen, so PF2K really forcing him back right now. verhuver down by about 35 population. PF2K, I'm not quite sure what he's intending to do next. He's already taken a 3rd town centre all the way up in the back corner, which is a bit strange really. I would have thought he'd throw the markets down, put the town centre here, but it's a bit, yeah. Oh, okay. Alright, so he's got the market all the way there. It's just that it's not really next to anything, so I suppose he's, yeah, I don't know, questioning him when I shouldn't. So PF2K doubling down on the walls. He wants to make sure there's no chance for verhuver to get easy access to his base with siege units, and PF2K right now getting a lot of upgrades. Cultivation's going to be very useful to have. I mean, all those gardens that he's got here, and he's already up to 7. They're going to deal that. They're going to generate that little bit more food be even more worthwhile for him to have invested into. Meanwhile, verhuver getting some more Sparabara out in particular, because he wants to try and overload the Babylonian front line here as the Persian, I think. And now that he's got age 3, he can sort of back it up with the mortals as well. And that means that the slingers aren't going to be very useful if the immortals can kick in at a good enough time here. There's plenty of towers here to stop PF2K from really being able to push terribly quickly here, but in saying that, there's a good number of bearers, so the shield bearers are pretty good counter to towers in a sense. But there is a bunch of sappers running here into the back of verhuver's base, so this is a really nice raid. You don't see a lot of sapper usage actually, but they are really good for clearing buildings quickly. They sort of have the benefit of being as quick as infantry, but yeah, basically having a similar sort of damage output against the buildings. He's got 3 times the damage against those buildings. Makes for really nice damage, so pity these priests aren't really in this bowman war right now, because they could be getting a lot of healing value out at the back of the army. Actually, do they heal out of combat? Oh, out of combat. Okay, never mind. I take that back. Anyway, verhuver has taken his guard tower upgrade, and so is able to really repel PF2K on that front, but over here he's had to come and clean this up, and not before losing quite a fair few houses. So verhuver actually only down to 115 max population, while PF2K is 180 to get, so that's been a very, very successful sapper raid, and verhuver sending units to chase mixed speed units, which is never really a good idea when it's only something like sappers who won't really be able to kill an Asabara unless all of them start attacking. So, and you can use that to really bait your opponent closer, so perhaps he should have split off the Asabara a little bit faster there, but there is this 3rd town centre being thrown down at the back of verhuver's base. So quite a little bit slower than PF2K's, but right now he's actually, I think he's got a little bit more in the bank here, so PF2K actually a little bit behind on score. 77 to 94 is the villager count, so PF2K, much smaller army potential here without dropping some more villagers, but in saying that, he's managed to just deny enough houses of verhuver's that verhuver hasn't really been able to get the ball rolling and really be able to max out here, so really nice play from both players. PF2K just seems to have done it. He's hit age 4 and he's denied his opponent's age 3 town centre, so PF2K able to throw up his 4th town centre, basically be a whole 2 town centres up at this point. This is a really, really big blow to verhuver, and he's already behind on the villagers. He needs to get more wood for sure. Fortress is already coming up on his side of the map from PF2K, so it's going to be a really, really rough fight for him if he's not able to push right now before that goes up. Oh, please don't lag. Okay, so PF2K up against a much better concave here actually. verhuver doing a good job at spreading his units out, and he's now able to focus his fire onto the fortress somewhat, but now PF2K is raining down hell and is able to turn this one around. In fact, there's a priest in the mix here to try and convert one of the bowmen. Not able to, but we'll see if he manages to get one. Ah, you're putting him out of business. This priest is unable to do anything offensively. He has to get by off whatever table scraps you give him healing. So verhuver doing a good job to try and build up his base around this and try and deny what he can, but there's also, try and deny what ground PF2K could take up what he can, but there's also walls. There's also bowmen already on the walls, so it's gonna make it really hard to try and get onto that gold mine securely. Get set up back here so you can expand onto it, because it's gonna come around. Come down to a fight over that if verhuver can really turn the tide of this in the meantime and deny the Palantonon, get his 4th town centre out, and look at maxing out himself and playing for a late game fight. But PF2K has just been so strong on his map control this game. He's probably even going to wall up this side just to be safe. And oh, that's a really big shot there, so holy crap, that's a long range shot. What's the range? 40. So this Palantonon and another, being added into the mix makes this very, very precarious for verhuver because he needs to snipe these and he just doesn't really have the units to be able to do so. I don't see any Asabara in the mix now, so verhuver is not going to be able to take out these Palantonons easily at all, so they're just going to continue to destroy buildings, and once they're done they can even take some good shots into this massive bowman. So PF2K in a really, really dominant position right now, and he's actually really spread his units out in extremely well shape around his opponent's incoming forces. Asabara joining the mix now, but it's just not enough. It's a bit too late on that, but I think PF2K is going to be able to make him tap out pretty soon here, unless verhuver is able to get some damage out somewhere, but I don't think it's going to be able to happen because there's just so much walls. GG. Oops, let's have a look at the quest stats quickly. So we've got PF2K with that really quick age up, but his quick second town center and his quick third town center, getting all the way up to 99 villages, then dropping back to 98, I think. While verhuver sort of a bit stuck there in a sense, where he was denied that third town center. PF2K was able to go all the way to his fourth, get a big unit max, and take some really nice fights. So there's even some Palantonons in the mix. So yeah, GG guys, in terms of the armory upgrades, if we go and have a bit of a gander. verhuver was able to get out all of his age 2 armory upgrades. PF2K and likewise was able to get out all of his upgrades except for his age 4 melee armor and pierce damage. Anyway guys, I think that might be it for now. But GG.